Yeah.
And you just got married.
I did just get married.
How was that?
Oh man. You know what? It's so funny because it's not something that I really like daydreamed about growing up. I didn't even know if I wanted to get married for a long time. But then I was my fiance, or what the hell was he? He was my boyfriend, and then my fiance when he proposed, and I was like, okay, yeah, like this is a partnership, and if I think about marriage in those terms rather than like what people have traditionally defined marriage as, like property, that's something I'm on board with. And when that happened, I was like, okay, let's like think about what our version of partnership is. And starting with the wedding. And I was like, I can't imagine like spending all this money on a wedding. But then as I started to do it, I was like, wait, I actually do value having these people at my wedding. I actually do value like having live music. I actually do value being able to feed everyone not just one meal, but having like a weekend of festivities. And all of a sudden it was like, I went from, oh, weddings are a waste of money to like, oh, this is actually totally in alignment with my values. And I don't care if I have to spend $40,000 to do it.
Is that what you spent?
That is what I spent on
Very
my wedding.
Cool. You know, I actually don't know the exact total of what we spent, but it was much less than that. But we had a 27-person wedding,
yeah,
which was a very conscientious choice in that regard because I'm very much like that. Like I splash the fuck out even when it's just, Friday night at my house and having two people over. Like, have you ever seen my Crazy Ex-Girlfriend?
Yes.
You know that song? It's like having a few people. Oh my God, no one's going to know this reference.
All right, we're going to YouTube that next.
Yeah, so you have to pull that up. But anyway, so that is very much my thing. And I knew I would feel that way about my wedding. Yeah. So I was like, I have to limit the quantity of people and give them the best week of their lives. And it was a full week. We put everyone up in it wasn't a chateau, but this beautiful place. And it was just like, you really have to pick what was important. Do you have any regrets from how you spent?
I really don't. Like, my wedding was so beyond perfect that it's such again, like not something I ever thought I would say. And even like the experience of it, I was like kind of stressed, but like loving it. And then I saw the pictures afterwards and I was like, wow, that is a really fun wedding. Like all these people are dancing. Yes. Everyone's having a good time. The space is beautiful, even though I like bought 0 flowers. So it's just like, I don't know. And it's funny. Like I talk about having a $40,000 wedding and some people are like, how did you do it for so cheap? And other people are like,
those people are psychos,
right?
Because you should not be spending $80,000.
Right. But then some people are like, that's an insane decision. And I'm like, I guess I see both perspectives.
What is the average? It's like 30,000.
It's like 30 something. And I got married in New York City, where the average is about closer to 80.
Yeah, the difference between like a tri-state area wedding versus elsewhere in the country. We're planning our wedding right now, and I just keep having to reiterate, like, it's a party.
Yeah,
we're having a party. Like, this isn't everybody breathe.
Yeah, no, I mean it is, and I think. You know what's funny? My approach to this, and I think part of the reason why I was very able to like go way lower on the number of people at my wedding was because I'm so into just like having big parties all the time throughout life. Like I try to have a few a year that it's like, it just naturally took a lot of pressure off of that event because I'm like, I know for our 10-year anniversary, I'm flying everyone, to freaking Trinidad or whatever and, having a week-long party on the beach or whatever. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, not everyone is going to operate that way, but it allows you at least to put it in perspective of this is one party amongst hopefully many amazing ones that you'll have in your life. I have some regrets for spending though, if I could share.
Oh yeah.
Cake. I
didn't do that.
Every time I'm at a wedding, half the time I'm at a wedding, I forget to eat cake because I'm already on the dance floor. Like Mark and I, we are on the dance floor from the second it's everyone on the dance floor to the second everyone's turning the lights up. So I never am just like in the cake zone. And so often I'll forget. Sometimes I'll take it home and eat it the next morning, which is the best way to do it in my opinion. But at my own wedding, I was like, it was quite expensive. Cakes are very expensive. And I do love a cake, but you're so overwhelmed in the moment. We had like a 6-course meal. And I was like, no thanks to cake. And so I don't know. I regret spending cake money.
We had family members make torts. So I'm Ukrainian and we did a lot of Ukrainian traditions. And so we had a lot of people make the traditional torts. What pissed me off, so there were things I don't regret spending money on, but there are things that pissed me off that I had to spend money on, was the fact that like it cost money for my caterer to cut the cake that I provided.
Oh yeah, that is the scam of all scams.
But it's like, there's nothing I can do about it at this
Yes.
point, right? Like, I've already committed to the caterer. Like, and that's so much of wedding planning. Like, the ice package.
Oh yeah.
I was livid. Oh, this is what I regret. Okay, I got one. But it's not about spending money. It's about spending time. So I was so mad about all these little upcharges. And one of them was this ice package. It was like $5 per person for us to provide ice. And I was like, no, I'm done. And I went to the Upper East Side, which is where I got married, like the week of my wedding. And I like went to all the grocery stores and bodegas to see if they had like ice that they would deliver and how much it would cost. And so I did that for my wedding. And I think I saved like $20.
Oh no.
Meanwhile, I spent like 3 hours on this little venture, and like the ice didn't show up until about like 5 minutes before all my guests started coming. And like I have a friend like hauling up these bags of ice in this like beautiful mansion where we got married, and it's like dripping all over the floor. And in that case, it was like, I should have just spent the money.
You should have, but I feel like that's what gets you in weddings or any big celebration, is that you realize that the most precious thing during that celebration is your attention and time. It's what can you focus on? And the more you're focused on little bullshit like X or Y thing isn't being delivered, the less you're focusing on what you should be focusing on, which is this beautiful celebration with your family. And I will say, for those who have ever been inclined to have a very small wedding, that is one of the nicest things about it, because at that scale, very little can meaningfully go wrong. Yeah. Because even if you run out of something or you don't have something, that's still a number of people where someone can just run to the store. Like, it's not a number of people that makes everything a mass bulk order. And so that does relieve some pressure. Also, my wedding dress was $80, and I will never regret that as long as I live.
That is really impressive.